Hello, everybody, and thank you for joining the Move podcast. All of my new podcast friends out there. Today, I have a very special guest with an incredible story of overcoming adversity and using that to propel her business.
The whole concept for Move is make a difference. O, to offer up your time, talent, and gifts. B, there's victory in the small things. And E, to encourage others. And so I started to move.
So without further ado, how you doing, Vivian So?
Hey, I'm doing good. Nice to be on your podcast.
So Vivian, what is it exactly that you do?
I help people to transform their story into a business, because when a business is connected to the business why through the product and service, it becomes a very unique selling proposition, and a best branding strategy is to telling the story. And I know lots of people are ashamed of the story or don't think they have much to offer, but I'm here to not to change them, but to embrace the person they already are and be proud of their story and able to tell the story proudly and also make a living by telling the story. So I use digital marketing as a transformation tool for people to be able to feel better about themselves and also able to break through the limiting belief.
Well, I think that's very important, and it's definitely much needed, especially in today's society. But you didn't get there just by snapping your fingers and then poof, you're there. So obviously you had to overcome some adversities of your own. So give me a little background about what it was like growing up being Vivian.
Growing up was very difficult. When I was in third grade, my parents are too busy and they were arguing, and my schoolmate are not playing with me. And so from third grade to sixth grade, I literally have no friends. And then when I was in fifth grade, my grandma and my grandpa passed away. So being no parents' guidance, no friends, and the parental figure, my grandma and my grandpa passed away, I have to learn to deal with my own emotion. But that was like a little bit episode, because when I actually got to teenager, it was even worse, because my parents always don't believe in me. And when I got sick in 2000, the situation got worse, because they start at every dinner table just yelling at me, like every dinner table. And it will be left and right, because this is a small table, 2 meters apart each end. And I have to sit through that eating. And but fortunately, I never give up.
Well, what kind of stuff did they yell at you about?
Underachiever, you don't matter, like something like useless, idiot, like anything they can yell at me. It was basically they telling me I'm not achieving the standard they want, that I cannot be successful. When I earn my multi-fund license, they say I cannot be a successful multi-fund person because of my age. And pretty much that kind of like, okay, I'm out of there because of that. And I stick with that little limited belief that I cannot amount to anything for a while. Actually, 6 years. For 6 years, I'm a college grad, but for 6 years, I stuck as a cashier job.
You stuck what?
And I stuck at a cashier job. So even I'm a college grad, I decided to stick with a cashier job for 6 years. And the only reason I get out of that cashier job is because I have to move from Victoria, BC to Ontario. So after that, I try other job, but basically it's still entry-level job. I don't dare to claim a bigger dream. Until I really fall to my rock bottom in 2015. My health got even worse, and I cannot be an employee. And it was just a split second moment that I realized if I want to change my mindset, I just have to take action. So I sent out LinkedIn introduction to my connection and asked for a job. And the first offer I got that I can work for free to try my first client was in a niche I never heard of before. It's called window treatment. I was like, what is window treatment? But I didn't reject the job. I take the job. I over-delivered, got a good testimony, and I landed other jobs since then. But it was because I believed in myself and I didn't saying that, oh, I never have a digital marketing client before. I never, never this, never that. I don't have a marketing degree because my college diploma is on accounting. I don't have 3 years digital marketing experience. I cannot really do this. I didn't have that. I was like, I need this right now. I need money and I'm just going for it. And that's the aha moment. I can just change my mindset in a split second when I take action. And then when COVID hit, I actually have to shut down my business. And when I went back up, because I don't want to be an employee again, I repositioned my business because I think if I can tell my story and, more people will become digital entrepreneur because that's exactly how I become one. I didn't become one because I have an education in marketing. I didn't happen because I have 3 years as a marketing manager. I start out from zero. Then later I was thinking guess what? If I actually do the same thing with other people, link their story to their business product and service, then I can help them to use their story as the marketing strategy and help them to have a business of their own. But the idea to actually use digital marketing to be a therapeutic or healing kind of tool is rather new. You would say you never heard of it before, right?
Yeah, no, I was going to ask you to elaborate on that.
I'm just giving an example. My target audience is actually a woman, but apply for men as well. So take an example, someone who is only watch sport in their life, and their wife probably will say he is a loser. He only watch sport, doesn't do anything else. But for me, I would be claiming okay, you can be a sport commentator online, and you can sell sport event tickets. And you can actually sell print-on-demand jersey and sport mug or sport, the gadget or clothes pin and something like that. And that would actually embracing what he's doing. I'm not changing who he is, but embracing who he is. And now he has a good story to tell. So he's not ashamed of who he is. He's become what he wanted to become. And you cannot do this without the digital marketing platform. The digital marketing platform is the only platform where you can do anything to make a business out of it, as long as you can discover what's your passion, what's your why, what's your vision, and what's your talent.
I think that's an important thing. And a lot of times people step outside of themselves to try to do things that they don't really like, but they do it because they need a paycheck. And you're here to basically say, hey, you don't have to do it that way. You can take who you are, you can be proud of who you are, and then use that to catapult you to whatever position that you want to be in.
Exactly. And I know some people are saying, not every story can turn to a business. Well, I think you're mistaken. There's so many people who need to tell how they overcome such obstacles. That can be marriage, broken marriage. They can teach how to compact those difficult moments. It doesn't necessarily to resolve the problem. They can still be broken in this world's life, but they can share how they overcome certain things, what kind of legal thing that need to prepare in a divorce, or what kind of thing need to prepare when it comes to custody. there is something you can share. It like a lot of people like, oh, but they haven't overcome their difficulty. They cannot tell the story. No, when you combating something, that's something worth to tell.
Showing vulnerability, you would think is a weakness, but turns out to be a strength, because I think that is where, when you let down your guard, then you really can connect with somebody on a real level. They can see you for who you are, and you'll have their attention. And so I think it's very important, but it's hard to get to that position. You know, there's our egos. Nobody likes to show our ugly side of our face. You know, everybody wants to put the makeup on and show our pretty side of our face. But unfortunately, that isn't as effective. You know, it's not as effective if you want to truly connect with somebody. If you want to entertain somebody, that's a different story. But if you want to connect, I think what you're doing is very, very, very important. You're taking their story and you're spinning it in a way that they can leverage that to connect to more people. Do you have any examples of people that you've used their story with their business to help market?
You know what? I'm actually just starting this program. It's a new program, but I'm my best avatar. I did that myself. But what I'm trying to say is, that's the part I want to help them with, is to, like, I say I'm an empowerment coach as well, right? So I work with them with their story, from not wanting to talk about their story to be proud of their story. So it's not too much about connect with someone else I know that's what we do in marketing. We try to make our audience resonate with my stuff. But I use digital marketing as a tool of transformation, a tool for transform someone's life. So the focus is on helping themselves, if they want help, to not be ashamed of their story. Then I have a way to work with them to get them to able to do that. I have a beta workshop where I, have 8 exercise on reclaim your personal power, and I also have 4 days workshop where I talk about how to drill down your why, your passion, your talent, how to extract your knowledge into a message, craft of your problem statement, and just push content into the digital marketing space and create your own virtual stage. But that you have to be the person really want to change themselves, not necessarily have a business, but have to willing to want to get out of where they are stuck right now and want a transformation. That it is gonna be scary, because I'm saying not only you want to not shame about it, but be so proud of your story that you will tell other people to help other people to transform their life.
Got it. Let me take a 5-second break here. My son kind of broke into my room here, my studio, and he's taking over for a second. So let me shift gears for 1 second. I know my wife is supposed to be here right now, but this is why you gotta love it. You just gotta roll with it. Yeah, so he's giving me, good job, son. So here, since you've made your appearance, this is Carson. Say hi, Vivian. Okay.
So cute.
Okay, go take this to your sister, baby. Go take this to your sister.
No, mine.
Yeah, I know it's yours. Go take it to your sister.
No, mine.
Go. You're okay. Shut the door, please. Do you have kids?
No.
Oh, they're fun. I have 5 of them.
You have 5.
Yeah, I have a 22-year-old daughter. I have a 13-year-old son, a 7-year-old son, a 6-year-old daughter, and a 2-year-old son that you just met. That's Carson. So
I do go to Oneida to go on missionary trip where I help the children there to do vacation Bible school to spread the gospel. Because evangelist is another title of mine, and so I love children, but I never have one. But that was like some people kind of say like, hey, you are so good with relationship in terms of understanding parenting or relationship between couples. How come you're not a relationship specialist? Well, the wisdom I have, I don't think like it was tagged to relationship. It's really how you perceive things. Like you have the perceptive understanding that you can understand relationship between people. It's just so much that usually when I'm watching television or TV drama, I notice that couple connection and parenting connection. And so usually I share with my friends about what I think about that episode. And they was like, wow, that was like, it's like I look older than I am because of the insight I have. That was really good.
How old are you?
37.
37. Man, it's, I am 40. I just turned 45. I feel like the older you get, the faster you get older, you know? It's crazy. Like, I look back and it's, I can't believe I'm 45. I still feel like I'm in my 20s, you know?
I thought you were in your 30s, actually.
Perfect. I think it's because I shaved my head, you know, you can't see gray hairs. But, okay, so now let's see. This is episode 2. Let's see what's happening. What's the matter, son? Yeah? Kennedy?
Yeah.
She made you cry?
Yeah.
How come?
Yeah.
Yeah? Is she not putting up with your stuff?
Yeah.
Yeah? Okay, here, tell Vivian how bad it is. Tell her. It was horrible. Tell her.
Yeah.
Shy.
Well, I guess it is what it is. You know, and I think this is a situation where, you know, this is a real life situation where you're trying to accomplish something like our video so we can talk and I can get to the bottom of it, right? And uncover the way that you've moved to overcome your adversity, and so we can, you know, show people and they can say, you know what, I can do that. But in the midst of what we're doing, we have interruptions, we have things that happen that are tracking us, things that need our attention that aren't supposed to happen, and here they are. And so you either have a choice. You can either go with the flow and try to highlight it and say, hey, look, it's okay for this stuff to happen because this is life. This is being vulnerable, right? And you go with it, and then we take the situation and then we roll that and make it a better message because now we're incorporating real life into it and not just having some fake.
I was saying like just keep him on the show. Just like talk about a little bit about your why and your story as well, because we were talking about story.
Yeah, well, this little kid was a very scary birth.
Really scary.
Yeah, it was, because there was a prolapse, and a prolapse is when you have what is what the heck? What's the tube that feeds them? You know, where they get all of their nutrients and stuff from. So that basically came out before he came out. And what happens is when that comes out and then the head goes into the birthing canal, it cuts off the oxygen.
Oh, I saw what you mean now.
Yeah, so it cuts off the oxygen, and what happened was we ended up having the doctor came in that was supposed to have, her birth. That was her birthing doctor, and that doctor couldn't, she had another birth. So then we were like, whoa, and then another doctor came in and said, okay, and checked her, said, oh, she's 9 centimeters. She's 9 centimeters, and we better do something. So they broke her water, And then the doctor reached in to check and said, prolapse cord. And then all of a sudden, out of nowhere, chaos just hit. And you had nurses running in the room. We had, kicking out the wheels so then we can run down the hall. And I opened the door so everybody can get out through. And we're just running. And then the doctor's still on top of the bed with her hand up in my wife because she's trying to hold the baby's head from coming in and cutting off the umbilical cord. That's the word. And so she's there, and then they're running, and then all of a sudden they're like, you have to stop. There was a line in the hall, and I said, what? You have to stay here. You can't go past this point. So then I just see them running down the rest of the hall and then turning in the room with the doctor still on top and my wife screaming, ah! And
that must be difficult.
Oh, that was a very, very crazy situation. And then you hear code stroke. And then you see more people running in the OR. And I'm just standing there like, then it really hit me like I could lose my son and my wife. And then there was a code blue, or it was code pink. And then, again, people running in there. And so it was, and then literally I'm out in the hall for probably 45 minutes, just like, and then I just hit my knees like, God, please save my son, save my wife. I don't know what to do right now. And so finally somebody came back and said, everything was fine. Your wife's sleeping and your son's okay. However, he's going to have to go into the NICU. We may be transferring him to another hospital because the umbilical cord was prolapsed and it was cut off for a little bit, but we just don't know how much. So then it's like, then they're thinking, well, we may have to transport him to the other hospital so we can connect him to a machine that pumps his blood out, cools it down, pumps it back in so it'll slow down brain function. And if it slows down brain function, then there'll be less of a chance that there'll be mental handicaps. So that was very crazy. And he was in, hey, Carson, come here. So he was in the NICU for like 4 months. No, 4 months, 4 days. And so, but everything's fine, and the kid's really smart. Yeah. So he's a hard-headed little bugger, but he's cute, he's smart, and definitely a blessing. Yeah. Daddy. So in something like this, you could take that story, for example, or would it probably be more of a personal story, right? This is a story of something that I experienced, but you would probably have some kind of a personal story. Like, let's say maybe I was bullied in high school or something like that. And if I was bullied in high school, you would take that and help me accept that story and then spin it to be part of my business, or how would you, what would you do there?
So, well, take your case first. You can potentially tell your story to talk about how unexpected life is, and whatever your business is, you can actually apply that. And then I would say, like, if let's just say you are an insurance person, and that will be perfect because you never know what was just going to come next. So when you get married, you're supposed to have insurance, and then you can talk about your story, how unpredictable as a new father. And it's like people can sense the life and death moment that you have, your sincerity, and they feel like, yeah, I cannot predict my future. So they will be ready to get an insurance contract with you guys. But let's say you're just trying to share with other dad, then you can actually have a class that teach how the dad can prepare for the birth, like how to support the woman when she's in labor and what to do if something screws up. What is the protocol that you can take to calm yourself down and actually able to help your wife and help your child? And if you're like you can even spin on that. You if you're evangelist, you can use this story to talk about like that it is all God saving at the end, and you tell the same story, but it's for a different vocation, right? If you're insurance, you tell it to talk about highlight how life is the lack of uncertainty. You better protect your homes right now. If you are trying to share with other dad, you're helping them to be ready for labor, to expect anything can happen, and how to smooth them to help their wife better during the labor. And if you are evangelist, then you just use the chance how God can transform it. It depends on what you want to do. And that's why the story is the very same story, but depends on what you want to do. What is your message? When you come up with it, does it feel like you want to help other dad, or do you feel like you want to help other people to prepare the insurance, which is the same line? You try to help to protect your family. And so all those things are good, but that's why I say when I go to the workshop, not only your vision, your story, but your talent and your passion. Because your story is part of it, but you also need to know what you want to do in life, how you want to impact people. Like I have my story, I want to transform people's life, but the vehicle I do is through digital marketing. How do you want your story to transform people? What is the vehicle of transforming other people? That will determine your path. And for the bully, they can talk about, helping other people to be strong, and, they can become a counselor to talk about like how to prevent bully from happening again, or how to help the bully to get some counseling, or how to help them to have a better self-esteem and have a price intervention plan. It's almost social work, right? But not everybody actually want to be a social worker just because they got a bully. So the same bully story, they can talk about how you can strengthen your self-food obstacle. It can be you can be a CEO try to empower someone. So there's a bully situation I have, but I didn't actually give up. Even I got bullied, I actually go on and become even more studious in my studies, so that now I'm a CEO. The same thing can happen to you. Don't let your situation to undermine you. Even now, you're a front-end employee. Someday you will amount to something if you do not give up and do not let that situation affect you or other people affect you. You see how I did that? It was bully, but as a CEO, I've encouraged the front-end employee as little as they are as the front-end worker. And I can link more as like, and as a front-end employee, I really appreciate each of you, because without you, we wouldn't understand our customer and everything that operational, whether it's working at its best performance. So I highly suggest you to take the opportunity to meet with your manager to talk about your annual goal.
It seems, though, that you don't want to put the cart before the horse, and it seems like you, instead of taking an existing business and modeling a story to improve the marketing, what you're doing is taking meaningful story in somebody's life and then using that story as a beacon of light to guide them to what they want to do in life. So it's not taking the business that they're currently having. Most likely, maybe it could be used for that, but the most important thing is to take the story and use that to guide them on what they're gonna accomplish. And then once they decide that, you will help them employ digital tools to make that message heard louder and farther.
Yeah, because when you know how you want to use your story to help you on the right path, the next step is connect that business with your product and service so that it becomes a very good unique selling proposition for yourself and a marketing strategy. And that's how you stand out from the crowd And that's how come from not wanting to tell your story to you really want to tell your story because your story is going to impact people's life with your product and service, however you want to decide to do that.
I like it. I think that there is a level of humility in getting people to do that. They have to experience the humility in order to open their eyes and sit with shortcomings, things that have happened in their life where they didn't accomplish what they were trying to accomplish, or they didn't hit the mark, and instead of pretending it didn't happen, they're looking at that, they're accepting that, and then that is what's making them powerful. And I think a lot of people will be forced to go on a self-discovery journey. And I would assume that in your 4-day workshop, that's what you do. You take them through a self-discovery journey. Is that right?
Part of it is. Part of it is very into digital marketing because I do try to help them to understand what digital marketing is in order for that. But I'm expanding my my events because I just done a beta version of it, and I thought after I think about it, I should focus more on that's about digital marketing. Because originally the beta event that I run, the focus was on how to narrow down your niche and all that. But I think in order for them to take that step, the first step is for them to accept them who they are and embrace who they are, which is the part that was harder than to me just teach them all the digital marketing too. It wouldn't mean anything for them if they haven't narrow down how they want to use the story.
That makes sense. And then when you're talking about digital marketing specifically, what are you talking about?
So essentially what happened in the 4 days workshop, it would be like talk about their why, the vision, the passion. And then from that, I was like, what kind of people resonate with you that you can bring them over the bridge, the epiphany story. As for me, I'm a relative new speaker, but in 2021, I secured 8 spots out of the 12 spots that originally I'm aiming to have on other people's stage. And that's why my friends say, you know what, hitting 12 stage is too easy for you. Make it this year. And so it's not really that hard to get on other people. Say like right now I'm on your podcast. It's kind of as a stage, right? But lots of people don't know how easy it is when you start networking, start socializing, start going to event. And I think one of the event I go to, I actually got 12. And I wasn't a speaker. I was just a participant. But I played full out during the events, and that's how I got the 12 lead as a participant. And so I was trying like, okay, you have your story now and you want to share your story. So at least at the bare minimum, when you have your own program, I want you to use public speaking, having your own Facebook Live or go on other people's stage to bring the eyeball to your message so that you can easily sell your program or your workshop. So that's the complete solution from you're not confident, you don't think you can achieve anything, you're ashamed of your story, or you don't ever think you can be something that was excellent, to then something change inside, you feel like your story have something matter, and figure out what you want to do with your story that's going to be help you down the path, and figure out what you want to do with it, and then tell the story in a way that is going to be empowering to others, at the same time build a little program or workshop around what you know already out of that situation. And then how I take that into content marketing, which is social media, and then have their own Facebook Live, multiple streaming, and go on other people's stages, other people's podcasts, other people's summit to spread that. So it's like, I feel like, if I just teach you digital marketing, it won't make sense to them because it seems like that's not what they sign up for. But essentially, the digital marketing is the exact platform they need. I always believe like everybody can get a slice of digital marketing, make it their own, and get profit from it. And I'm just not getting profit from it, but transform people life. That would be the next step to do it.
Got it. Very noble. Now, when it comes to TikTok, is there any new digital marketing platforms that you're using more than others? So I know Facebook Live, obviously, but like Snapchat or TikTok,
It
or
was more focused on Facebook, LinkedIn, and YouTube. But Clubhouse is a new one.
Clubhouse.
Yeah, Clubhouse. I'm new to Clubhouse as well, but then at least I know like the first day I was on Clubhouse, I go on to worship war room, and I lead 2 songs. So out there, I already kind of position myself. I was a worship leader, so I kind of like build a connection right there when I'm in the room, and I'm an evangelist. That was the first thing I do. And people will follow me. I don't have a follower right now, but then people start to follow me because they was thinking like, oh yeah, that person can sing. Maybe I want to check her stuff out. And so as a brand myself as a Christian on Clubhouse, even my bio, I'm saying, hey, I help people to transform the story into business. But I brand myself very clearly. I'm a Christian person, and that's where I stand. Because sometimes on social media, you don't necessarily want to, you want to be authentic. You don't want to be too business-like. You don't be like, oh, I'm a digital marketer and da-da-da-da-da. And when they know I'm a Christian, that know a bit about my character, my authenticity. And that's how I introduce them to check my profile, and the profile talk about my business.
So did you grow up as a Christian, or have you always been a Christian?
I was raised in a Catholic school, but I have some kind of like a Catholic baptism before that I didn't know it doesn't really count. You have to have immersion, immersion baptism. So in 2004, I actually did that. But back in my story where I say I was no friends, my grandparents passed away, and my parents are busy or arguing, I actually asked God for wisdom. And that's how I got the wisdom from God to manage my emotion when I was, my parents yelling at me at the dining table. I don't have anyone around me. I would just by myself. But because I don't have friends that much when I grow up. But my God protect my mind, soul, and spirit. So I didn't leave school. I didn't run away from home. I didn't actually, at least for a little while, I didn't actually move out. And then I didn't actually go into drugs, alcohol. I wasn't become angry. I didn't have a temper problem. I didn't blame people. I didn't have the victim mentality. And people was like, how did you do that? Like, who actually do it? I mean, I cannot answer anything but other than saying, God just protect my mind there. Everything that was negative that people may learn from the parenting, how people were being parented. Like, some people say, if you got a really negative environment, that people grow up will be grumpy, right? But I'm not grumpy at all. So I cannot attribute anything I was attribute to God, who just sheltered my mind and keep me really positive. Because even when I was growing up, people see me only as cheerleader, happy, bring joy to people. They don't see me as someone self-pity, angry, or victim mentality. They didn't see that. And for the longest time, even before they were doing all the yelling, when they were shutting down my idea, I was trying to write. I wrote 200 poems, and they shut me down and saying, "Oh, your English is your second language. I'm not gonna read your poem. Your poem get published. It was just by accident or whatever." And then I turned to other subject where I always try to I didn't give up. I was just keep trying to learn other hobby or skill to please my parents, which is something I later learned that I don't have to. But that process, instead of like shut me down from wanting to do anything, it was God who protect me and keep helping me to have this never admitting you're a loser kind of attitude, never give up attitude, keep trying different things. And eventually I learned a lot of things and accomplished a whole bunch of things. The writing 200 poems is an accomplishment itself.
Definitely.
But I wouldn't have got it that far if my parents have not been negative, and if my God have not protected me and provided me the wisdom that I should not stop when people pour cold water at your feet. You should just keep going. Find something somewhere. Someday you'll be known for something that everybody will honor you, will respect you. And I cannot really come up with that idea because there's no other, like my grandparents is gone. I'm in a new country, no friends and all that stuff. So I can only attribute God is the one who provided me the wisdom. And that was the original wisdom I asked when I was in third grade.
You know, it reminds me, somebody had told me that they were abused when they were growing up, and their dad would beat them up, you know, spank them and beat them up pretty good. And one of the brothers ended up joining the military and excelled, did a bunch of hand-to-hand combat, and was basically one of the top people in his group. And he's like, I had no choice. I mean, I already started this. You know, my dad beat us up when we were kids and toughened us up. And so I'm like, that's interesting, because yes, you can say two things. You can say either it was abuse, okay? Mm-hmm. Or you can say it was training. And the choice is yours. It was the same action that took place. But in the first instance, there's a lot of negativity and victimization that's associated with that. And then the second, saying that it's training, literally takes a bad thing and spins a positive layer on top of it. And that allows us to, it liberates us. It liberates us from the shackles of victimization. And that's what I'm trying to do here with the Move podcast, is talk to people that have overcome adversities and pull out that essence of the fact it's their choice, and their choice dictates their path. And their path can go up the mountain, so then eventually they can see all of the beautiful scenery, or it can take them into a gully and all they can see is dirt.
Yeah, I mean, on the same token, I can blame God for everything, but I actually thank God for everything. It's like how the angle you see. That's why I was thinking, like, God may have taken some of my blessing when before I got sick with my mental illness. I was actually have perfect photographic memory. I'm good at math, but afterward, I'm no longer doing that. But He gave me wisdom and perceptive understanding. It was the perceptive that brought me here. It was that perceptive, because it was like how you perceive things make a lot of difference to how you approach your problem.
Well, now, when you say mental illness, what do you mean by that?
I have 3 different kind of diagnoses. I got schizophrenic, I got bipolar, and I got anxiety disorder. And so for someone with an anxiety disorder, being a cashier for 6 years is actually amazing. Because I think I remember
dealing with a bunch of people, I can only imagine.
And the only thing that was the worst moment is anxiety disorder was that I was afraid to split a pill. It overwhelmed me, the idea to split a medical pill. I would avoid doing it. And everybody in my family say I'm lazy, but no, I actually can't do it because I have that disorder. And I don't know how I came out of the nutshell, but I actually able to handle customer service. That's why part of it, I was in a nutshell. I can only become a cashier because I thought I was already really good at my best when I'm an anxiety disorder person to actually able to handle customer service. So I thought I was already at my best. But little did I know, as a college grad, I should be actually can go further. And I actually don't think whether you're college grad or high school grad, it doesn't really matter because everybody have something to offer. But at that point, I was like, oh, I can only be a cashier because I already think I'm at my best. So whatever the level of success you can conceptualize you're able to doing, that's the level you will able to achieve. Because as long as you don't think you can achieve more, you will get stuck. You won't be motivated to reach out for more, and you will be content as where you are.
So now let me ask you where you're at now. Are you still taking medication? Is it still part of your day-to-day routine, or have you been completely liberated from that, or is it?
Those 3 illnesses is a lifetime thing. And I also got reading problem too, because after I got sick, I got reading disability. But before I got sick, I actually was a quiet reader. So lots of people, if they was like, why wouldn't you tell me that you wouldn't trade anything to get back those reading ability, the memory ability, the math ability? You won't trade anything with God other than what he gave you, because God gave you perceptive understanding and wisdom. Because perceptive understanding and wisdom worth more than those skills. It bring me along, like winning on a long haul, because I'm able to understand people, understand situation better, and so that I can make the right choice, a wiser choice. So that's why I say I won't trade anything. Like those things, if God take away my knowledge of math, my perfect memory, and my reading ability, I wouldn't trade anything. I won't want that back because I got something else. I got perceptive understanding, I got wisdom, and I actually got wisdom in terms of scripture as well. So I was like, I don't want to trade anything. I wouldn't change a thing at all.
Wow.
And that would be like, you have to really appreciate how God is working in your life. It's like, why wouldn't you? At least I wouldn't. Like somebody would be like, at least I would trade the part where you're getting yelled at every dinner table, or maybe I would trade the fact that you don't have any friends when you're younger. But if any of these things change, I don't have the task to not giving up. Remember, I told you I never give up every time my parents shut me down on an idea. I wouldn't have that training. I wouldn't become who I am.
What's the difference between schizophrenia and bipolar?
Schizophrenia is hallucination, delusion. Bipolar is like you have a manic hyper and manic low time, kind of like a lack of motivation and all that. And general anxiety disorder is just anxiety.
So what do you do when I was talking to my sister about this yesterday. What do you do when you have those days of very low energy? Does that happen often? Where you're just like...
It would be, yeah. It happen like in a cycle. So there'll be up cycle where you cannot sleep. And there's a down cycle you don't want to do anything. But you try to make it much more mellow, like so that you don't go like that. So I would sleep when I was down. I listen to my body. I sleep. I would watch TV drama, play cell phone game. So to cheer myself up, sometimes I will listen to worship song. Sometimes I just, in a group environment where in fellowship where I can have a relationship like a brother and sister in Christ kind of relationship where we come together to do some brainstorming. Because whenever there's more people, the less you will feel depressed because other people will inspire you to think about something positive. It's important to have a support group where you have a friends or a group that you can go to that they're going to inspire you more positivity than negativity. And that's where I find is fellowship, Sunday school, and, the church environment actually helped me a lot with that. Yeah.
The power of connection. Carson, come over here.
But you don't necessarily need to be in church. I mean, if she has a group of friends that's really positive, always try to However, like if just like for example, if I'm your sister friend and you can probably guarantee she will stay positive because I will always say, hey, look at it in different angle and all that stuff. That's all she needs is to hang out with more people when she's down. I mean, it's kind of intuitive thing because when I'm sad, I usually sleep, but I find out when I'm in fellowship, my energy like rise up. Even though it may sound taxing to me at the beginning, the idea to go to a group when you're depressed, but the conversation within the group, either small talk or jokes or something, it's just gonna be take the mind off the depression.
Got it. Yeah, I was, my sister was telling me yesterday how she just wakes up and sometimes she just feels so heavy, like everything's so heavy and she can't even get out of bed. And so that's where I was just curious what advice you would have for her in that instance.
And you have a group of people accompany her, but don't make her feel like you're, as they try to take care of her or try to observe her, but kind of like people just come in and out around her to bring different, like let's say knitting. If she like knitting, then knitting. If she like taking photograph, just take her for a walk to take photograph. Whatever she like to do. So kind of like if they like hiking, just go hiking. So whatever her hobby is, just find someone to do something with her to kill the time. Because whatever you're doing at that moment, she is listening to other people's story because the other person is going to tell her life, right? And hopefully whatever the other person tells is going to be positive. And then it take herself off her analyzing whatever because she have to attend to other people in the conversation. She have to try to help the other person. The best thing is let her have some success. So let her do something that she will find fulfillment about. Maybe like, let's say you may not need her to cook for you, but you can say, hey, I will be really like to if you can cook spaghetti tonight so that we can eat together as a family. And cooking spaghetti may not be something big, but she'll be so happy she is someone that is able to contribute rather than always taking. Because sometimes patients really worry and sensitive that they are the one who take and they are the one who always need guiding, like people observing or checking on, and they don't like that. They want to be treated as someone who is able to contribute, someone who doesn't need special guidance like a normal person.
I think that's good advice. I think, again, there are a lot of people out there that are dealing with this. So the power of connection is something that's very important. And the power of positivity.
Yeah, and make her feel like she is contributing in a small way.
Like she's what?
Contributing. Like let's say that the cooking spaghetti example, it may not be cooking spaghetti. Maybe like she is good at let's say you have you want to have a gift for somebody and she's good at drawing. Can you draw something for me so that I can use it as a gift for my friend? So it's like something she can do for you. Make she feel like she is not a taker. She's contributes something that make you happy. The family is happy with her, not worrying about her. Because when you start really worrying about her, she will feel like she's the bad. And nobody likes to feel like she is the bad, right?
Right. That's for sure. That is for sure. Now, do you think that how your parents treated you had an effect in your diagnoses of
schizophrenia?
No, it was totally something else. It wasn't my parents, because that was happened after I got sick.
Got it.
And I was like, I would think that whatever that caused me sick, I was already like, how to say, forgiving that episode that was causing me sick. But I was actually think I'm blessed by it, because whatever that is, God used the negative things in my life to bless me with more things in like down the road. Because now I have a story I can share I have lots of wisdom that I can share with other people in terms of dealing with negativity, dealing with verbal abuse, dealing with mental health issues, and dealing with anxiety.
Well, I think that is so important, especially for today. What you do is very important. This conversation regarding those diagnoses, and there's so many people out there that are struggling with anxiety. I mean, anxiety is everywhere, especially with all this COVID dynamic stuff that's happening. And then also, people are being shut out, not being able to connect with others, and they're suffering from anxiety. But then you also have pharmaceutical companies that are in every aspect of business, and it's like they create situations so they can have a solution. They create an illness so they can have a cure, and I think that a lot of people are taking medication, and some people definitely need it, and some people don't as much. But then it comes back down to our personal thoughts. Are we going to accept that we are going to be taking this for the rest of our life, and that's just the way it is, because we're afraid to venture out? Or is it possible, if we have the correct outlook and we decide that our will is stronger than anything else on this planet, can we will ourselves off of medication, or just maybe reducing medication? And is that something that's going to create more harm than good? I don't know the answer to that, but I was talking to my sister last night because she's taking medication. She was diagnosed as schizophrenic and high anxiety and severe depression, and she's taking different medications, and I was just trying to give her some advice. I feel like, there's a lot of people that are sharing those issues right now. And so that's why it's very interesting that we're having this conversation. So what's your outlook on that?
One thing, some people can never change the medication, because if you change one slightly thing, it will get sick. I got sick in 2015, and I no longer be employee because my one of my psychiatrists changed my recipe in medication, and I just go nuts. And then I'm happy that I regained the sober, kind of, in the sense that I don't have hallucination anymore, and my bipolar and anxiety disorder is stable. But so some people, changing med is very, very dangerous thing to do. But also, it's not, you don't just rely on the medication, right? You have, like, everything that I do is not because I take the medication. It was my perceptive, my approach to problems, my thanksgiving to God, that I can see how God is working in my life, bless me through the difficulty that He has given me, that bring me the positive outlook, bring me the desire to share gospel, or try to use digital marketing to transform people. It all comes from your perspective, your approach, how you respond to your circumstances. That's how you shape things. Because medication is just a really small part of recovery. If I only rely on my med, but my take on life was victim mentality, limit myself, that I label myself with the illness that I can never overcome my general anxiety disorder. I can never be a cashier. But if you do that, then you're just limiting yourself. You set yourself up just by the way you present things. And now you can see why I would not trade anything from God that He blessed me with the perspective, understanding, and wisdom, because that is what is needed to counter adversity. And that's how children shall be trained to have a different perspective when it comes to difficulty. Because there's always two sides of the coin.
Right. So you're still, so are you going to be taking medication for the rest of your life, or is it just something that you're going to have flare-ups and have to deal with, or how does that work?
I think right now I'm only taking 2 medications, so I kind of reduce a bit, but I think I have to take for life for that medication to keep me stable.
Got it.
Not necessarily a bad thing, because the side effect was so minimum, and I'm really have to thank God that my psychiatrist, other than that little episode when he tried to change my medication to screw me up, majority of the time my psychiatrist is really good at assessing what I need. And so, yeah.
Okay. Well, I'm just trying to think. I'm a little distracted here, but I think the biggest thing, I think we got some really good messaging out of this podcast today. I think that you are doing some really good things. I can't wait to see it evolve, and I would like to see some of the examples of things that you've done, and if there's any way I can help as far as, any kind of digital, whether podcasting this or getting out a story or something like that may help, just let me know. And I appreciate you coming on the show. I think you got an amazing story. Now, if somebody wants to reach out to you to get help with their story, where do they find you?
I'm going to give you our Calendly link that they can book a 30-minute free consultation with me.
Okay.
Just put it in the show notes, and they can book it, whenever they want. And then we can talk about anything they want. I can about the struggle, the story. Because remember, I'm a digital marketing person, but I'm also an empowerment coach. So the 30-minute, they can ask me anything they want.
Got it. And I do believe that you have perspective. I think when it comes to dealing with negativity, I don't think anybody can refute your credentials. I think you definitely will be able to help people deal with their negativity and basically spin it into something that is going to give them success. So, Vivian, again, thank you so much for coming on the Move podcast. And until next time, I'll see you later.
Okay, see ya.